Hello, my name is Neka. You're welcome to my channel today. In this video, I'll be showing you how I made this beautiful short pants I'm putting on right here. So if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, you can do so right now and then keep on watching to learn the whole process. So guys, these are the materials I'll be working with. So this material right here is a bit stretchy, so I'll just draft on the pattern paper first before cutting on this fabric. I'll start by ruling a line on the top of my pattern paper, which will serve as my waistline, and also rule a line by the side because when we are done drafting, I'm going to add half-inch allowance all around. So after that, I'll mark the full length of my short at 17 inches. And then mark my crotch depth at 10.5 inches, that's 10.5 inches, and then my hip line at 8 inches. I also use the ruler to extend all the lines across. And then after extending the line, you can label your hip line, your crotch line, that's CR, the full length of the short. And remember, the top line is the waistline. On the hip line, divide your hip measurement by 4, that's your hip circumference by 4, and add 1 inch for ease. My hip measurement is 39. Then after dividing, I added 1 inch for ease, making it 10 inches. So I marked it on the hip line, on the crouch line, and also on the waistline. So to get your crouch extension, that's the measurement for your crouch extension, divide whatever you have at the hip line by 4. Mine is 10 inches, so after dividing it by 4, I got 2.5 inches. So I extended the line, I marked it on the crouch extension line. For the crouch curve, just go up at this angle by 1 inch. 1 inch will be enough. So just go up by 1 inch from that angle, then make a slight curve. You can use your free hand or you can use your French curve to get this perfect curve. After that, to work on the hip curve, we'll divide the waist circumference measurement by 4. The waist circumference measurement I'm working with is 32 inches, so I'll divide that by 4. After dividing my waist circumference measurements into 4, I had about 8 inches. And then mark it from this center line as I'm doing. After marking the 8 inches, I added 1 inch for that allowance, making it a total of 9 inches. I went ahead to use my curve ruler to connect it to the hip line. That means I connected it from the waistline to the hip line. To get your lap line or to mark your lap line, go down from your crouch line by 3 inches. So at this lap line, that's where you'll be placing your lap measurements. So we'll also go ahead to extend the line. So guys, after extending the line, the next thing to do is to mark your dart. And to mark your dart, you have to know the center line or the center of this your short. So I'll go to my crouch line and divide my crouch measurements there by 2. Just divide your crouch line into 2 to get the midpoint of your short. Then after that, make a dot all around your lines. And then just use your ruler to extend the line. Just make a vertical line across the pattern paper. So guys, since my dart will not be getting to my band, I'll first of all remove the band measurement. My band measurement is 1.5 inches, so I will remove it before marking my dart. So from the top part of this band, I'll go down by 3 inches. My dart intake for the front, or my dart length for the front, will be 3 inches. I also went ahead to remove half inch at both sides. And this is how my dart will look like when I'm done stitching it on my main fabric. And then now be working on the lap measurement. To do that, just divide your lap measurement. The lap measurement I'm working with is 25 inches. I divided it by 2. I got about 12.5 inches. Now I placed it on the paper. I divided it into 2 again, placing half part on this side and then the remaining on the other side. This is just to have a fitted short pant. Just try it like this and you will have a fitted short pant. So guys, this is the T line or the lap line, and as I said, just divide whatever you had again, place one part on the other side and the remaining on the other side, just to have a perfect fit. Then on the full length, that's the hem line, you can go ahead and remove half inch or between 0.2 inches to half inch from whatever you got at the T line, and then just extend the line like this. Then after connecting the lines between the T line and the full length, I went ahead to use my ruler, or you can use your ruler or your curve to join all the lines together. So now we are done with drafting the front pattern. You just go ahead and add all your allowances. So at the hemline, I added 2 inches allowance. Then on all around the stars, all around the pattern paper, I added half inch allowance all around. Then on the hemline, 2 inches allowance. So you can go ahead and add all your half inch allowance all around. Okay, you don't need to add a half inch allowance at the hemline because we already added 2 inches sewing allowance at the hemline. So just add the half inch at the sides, on the waistline, on the crouch line, and all around. So you can just use your scissors and cut through the lines. So the front pattern is ready, and here I am labeling it front, and then I placed it on the back pattern. I placed it on another pattern paper to draft the back pattern. So on this crouch line, just extend the line by 2 inches. Extend the crouch line by 2 inches. And while placing your front pattern on a new pattern paper, make sure you have enough allowance at the top and by the sides. So just go ahead and extend this crouch line by 2 inches. To get the crouch curve for the back pattern, go up at this angle by 1.5 inches. Just go ahead and mark 1.5 inches to get your crouch curve for the back pattern. Remember to mark the measurement from the actual measurement, not from half inch. And on this crouch line for the back pattern, go down by half inch to get a perfect fitting. And on this top part, that's from this vertical line that you can see, go in by 2 inches. By 2 inches from the actual measurements, not from the allowance. Then at that 2 inches, also go ahead to go up by 2 inches as well. So now we'll be connecting all these curve, these lines or these dots that we've made. We'll just connect them together to get a perfect curve for the back. You can use your free hand or your curve ruler. To place your waist measurement for the back pattern, measure whatever you have at the front. I have 9 inches there, so I measured exactly 9 inches at the back part. Just place it exactly the way you see me doing. Make sure the front pattern and the back pattern waist is the same by the side. By the side. So just go ahead to use your curve ruler or your free hand to connect it to the hemline as you see me doing. And on the sides, just connect it to the hip line. Connect it to the hip line as I've done. To mark your back dart, that's the dart for the back pattern, measure what you have at the front. I have about 4 inches at the front. I also marked 4 inches at the back. So remove your front pattern in order to mark the back pattern. So the length of my dart for the back, I'll be making use of 4 inches. 4 inches, unlike the front that I used 3 inches. So mark your dart at this angle. This is how your dart will look like on your fabric. So this is how your dart will look like when you're done stitching it on your fabric. This is just like a guideline. So after marking all the necessary lines for the back, I also went ahead to add half inch all around, excluding the hemline. So this is what I have after I was done adding all the half inch. So this is me cutting through the important lines. We are done drafting the front and the back. So this right here is the front and this is the back. We'll now go ahead to cut them on the material. So I'll place the front pattern on my material on fold. Remember, you're cutting 2 pieces for the front and 2 pieces for the back. So I've placed my front pattern on the material on fold and I'm cutting it as you can see. So also place your material on fold to cut the back. So this is it. I'm done cutting the front into two. I cut two for the front and two for the back. After cutting for the front and the back, just go ahead and remove your pins. This is what it looks like. So these two pieces right here is for the front. I'll go ahead to stitch it like this. And then I'll also do the same for the back piece. After I was done stitching the back and the front, this is what it looks like. So this is the back right here. The longer one, as you've seen, is the back, and this is what it looks like. I'll go ahead and place the front piece on the back piece, right sides facing each other, and I'll shape the side. I'll just shape the side using my measurements and also the flap area or the crouch area. So you should have something like this when you're done stitching the sides. This is what we have. So I'm yet to put the band. So after you're done stitching, this is you have something like this. I've also placed all my darts for the front and the back. So guys, the last thing to do is just to place my band, stitch my band on the shorts, and also put my side zip. I use side zip for this short. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.